You're watching News X. I'm Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan. First up, the issue of the Ram temple in Ayodhya, which has been pending for 6 years, should be sorted out outside the court. The Supreme Court has said. The top court assured that it would step in only if the matter can't be resolved through talks. Chief Justice Jaiveer said that it is an issue of sentiment and religion. First sit together and sort it out. Both sides have moderators and should hold meetings. The court was hearing a petition by senior BJP leader Subramaniam Swamy. In response, Mr. Swamy said it's difficult to make both communities sit together and only judicial intervention is needed. Even the Babri panel has rejected talks, saying that it has failed in the past.
माननीय न्यायालय ने जो फैसला दिया है वह स्वागत योग्य है और मुझे लगता है कि जितना हो सकता था उतना बहुत ठोस फैसला दिया है। हम उसका स्वागत करते हैं। मुझे लगता है दोनों पक्षों को बैठ करके विवाद के समाधान के लिए एक रास्ता निकालना चाहिए। सरकार से जो सहयोग लोग चाहेंगे हम लोग उसमें सहयोग करेंगे।
जो भी लोग इस मामले में दिलचस्पी लेकर के समस्या को सुलझाने की कोशिश करते रहे हैं, वे उसी आधार पर कोई न कोई रास्ता निकालें, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट के प्रमुख न्यायाधीश का इस प्रकार से बोलना वो एक इच्छा की अभिव्यक्ति है और उस इच्छा की अभिव्यक्ति को पूर्ण करने के लिए अगर सब लोग सहमत हो जाए तो बहुत इस करने के लिए अगर सब लोग सहमत हो जाए तो बहुत इससे श्रेष्ठ क्या बात हो सकती है।
If the Honorable Chief Justice of India himself mediates, or if he appoints a team of the Honorable Judges of Supreme Court to mediate, we have full confidence upon the Supreme Court Chief Justice and upon the judges nominated by the present Chief Justice. Therefore, we are prepared to consider that observation and that order. Let him pass any order, then only the Personal Board Working Committee will consider it. Otherwise, we are not going for any private negotiation.
And for more on this story, we are joined by panelist R.P. Singh, National Secretary of the BJP, is with us. We're also joined by Jaiveer, Shergill, spokesperson of the Congress, who joins us from the national capital. Shabnam Lone is also joining us at this point of time. I'll begin with you, Shabnam Lone. Clearly, of course, by and large, when you look at the kind of political reactions that have come in, there have been a couple of naysayers. By and large, most political parties are okay with the concept of actually negotiating or mediating this entire matter, taking it out of court and reaching an out-of-court settlement. There are very few people who've actually raised the objections to it, saying that this has happened in the past and it hasn't worked. What is your stand, Shabnam Lone?
You see, there is no gainsaying in the fact that it is this matter is reamed and reeled in sensitivity, in religious fervor, and it has stuck for a long time now. Now, the suggestion that has come from the Honorable Chief Justice of India is most welcome, because in this situation, in these times, this is the best solution that the Honorable Apex Court could offer. However, I heard Mr. Zafar Yab Jilani, and I think he has a point. Now, once this observation has come from the Honorable Chief Justice, the court should pass an order and direct both the parties, all the litigants, to come up with a solution and present it before the Honorable Court. Even if in the past these negotiations have failed, there can always be better and good beginnings. And we all want to see a solution that will bring about peace and stability in the country, and that will not keep the Hindus and Muslims warring with each other over this issue, which is extremely sensitive.
All right, that's a fair point, but at the end of the day, why not negotiation? Why not try it once again? That's the question that perhaps is being asked by the court. Jaiveer, Shergill, your views on this. The Congress has officially, of course, released a statement saying that it would be preferable if a compromise can be reached, but ultimately the court is capable of taking its own decision. Where does the Congress stand on this? Will you also be coming out and actually, facilitating or at some level trying and supporting the entire dialogue process?
As you very rightly said, the Indian National Congress welcomes the observations of the Honorable Supreme Court, and the Congress Party appeals to both sides to adhere, act upon to the supreme advice of the Supreme Court of India. And we must all understand the intent, the rationale, and the reason why the Honorable Supreme Court has given this indication. The Supreme Court, always being a lawyer myself in the 11th year of my practice, much less than Shabnam ji, let me tell you, whenever there is an issue of religion, faith, harmony, societal order and peace, Supreme Court always prefers a out-of-court settlement, because they know not a legal solution, but an out-of-court settlement solution arrived at a mutual consent will ensure long-time harmony, long-term. Because once Supreme Court gives the verdict, one side will win, one side will lose. Today, the Supreme Court of India wants a win-win situation for both the communities. Supreme Court wants both the communities to pick a clue from their indication and tipney that if they act upon his advice, everybody will go home happy, God willing. And the fact that the mediation settlement has failed 9 times before, 9, if I'm right on my facts, should not act as a deterrent for either of the sides to lose hope. Today, Supreme Court is testing the intent, the genuinity of both sides to give a clear message to the nation. Do they want to resolve this dispute pending for the past 25 years through a dialogue, through a consensus, or do they want an adversarial? I don't agree what Mr. Gilani said on a pure legal ground. The court wants this case to go outside the trappings of a formal judicial proceedings. That is why they're insisting on a mediation. They're offering that they themselves will be present in that. But if we again go into the legal trapping when Supreme Court will order, we will give the solution to the court, then I think we are just, going in a cycle. So that is not a solution. The solution is to sit in an amicable atmosphere, environment, be conducive to each other, be flexible to each other, be respectable to each other. And that is the pulse of the nation. Both the sides should adhere to it, and the sun will shine and everybody will be happy.
All right, R.P. Singh of the BJP is also with us. R.P. Singh, it's not worked 9 times. What's the guarantee that the 10th time round, these negotiations surrounding the entire Ram Temple issue will be successful?
Let me start with this. I accept and I 100% go by what my two friends, Shabnam Lom and Shergill has said. They both are seasoned politicians also and seasoned lawyers also, and very learned lawyers also. See, only way ahead is that we need to talk and negotiate, and then amicable solution will come through only talking. But there's no harm even trying for the 10th time, even not harm in trying for the 11th time. So ultimately, I go by what my both the friends have said. The solution has to come on the table, because if courts give a verdict, it will make someone win and someone lose, which is not really a happy situation. But although court can do that, I mean, at some given time, court will do that if things doesn't turn down as asked by court. But this is a golden opportunity given by court to both the parties to come on table, and I'll appreciate that both, I mean, Muslims and Hindus and all concerned parties who are involved into this, they should sit and take this as an opportunity now for an amicable solution, and then the situation is conducive. I don't see any reason, and then once court is saying that they are prepared to be part of it, the negotiation also, I mean, they are prepared to part of the solution also. So let this happen now.
Well, yes, Shabnam Lone and Jaiveer, Shergill, I'd like to ask both of you, the CGI today coming out and saying that he himself is also prepared to intervene in this matter if required. Now, how do you see this playing out? Do you see the CGI himself actively involved in this, or was that just an off-the-cuff remark that a lot is being read into? And if the CGI is involved, do we see a sort of a semi-legal sort of a process? Will we see affidavits come from each side and then, repeated hearings and rounds of discussions after which the matter would be settled? How do you see the CGI's role vis-a-vis these entire mediations when he's mentioned that if required, he can be part of this entire proceeding? Shabnam Lone first.
Well, this is really a golden opportunity, and may I point out, the Chief Justice of India never makes an off-the-cuff remark. This is an extremely sensitive issue, and the peace and stability of the entire country depends on this case to a large extent. So this is a golden moment, this is a golden opportunity, and I would also request all the parties concerned to take the advice of the Honorable Chief Justice seriously, because it is not in any matter that the Honorable Chief Justice would say that I'm ready to act as a mediator. Now we have to trust the court, we have to trust the highest authority in the court, and if this is a moment which offers you a change, so even if the negotiations have failed in the past, all the parties concerned should make a concerted effort now to get into the act. All the parties, and particularly the onus is more on the majority party. The BJP is in power at the center. Now in UP we have a new dispensation which has taken over under Mr. Yogi. So the Muslims should keep faith in the Chief Justice. So should the people from the other party also keep faith and just go ahead and negotiate. Even if the negotiations again fail, at least they can go and present this scenario to the Honorable Chief Justice, and the Chief Justice has to be made aware that because when he said that he is ready to act as a mediator, everyone responded irrespective of their caste, color, creed or religion. And may I point out one thing, you know, even in the past, I would like to quote Allama Iqbal when he said, "Mazhab nahi sikhata, aapas mein bair rakhna." This is the basic constitution of the country, and we should go by this positive rhetoric and show to the world कि मजहब नहीं सिखाता, आपस में बैर रखना, हिंदी है हम वतन है, हिंदुस्तान हमारा.
All right. In fact, let me also go across to Jaiveer Shergill. Jaiveer, how do you see this panning out? You know, when the Chief Justice is involved, it's a rather unprecedented situation that a Chief Justice would be sort of mediating, you know, these sort of talks between various, the Chief Justice involved. It's a rather unprecedented situation that a Chief Justice would be sort of mediating, you know, these sort of talks between various stakeholders in this entire case. How do you see this actually playing out? Will it be a semi-arbitration sort of a procedure? Will it be just casual talks? How do you actually see this, you know, concretizing if and only if all the stakeholders do agree?
Yes, there are two big takeaways from the fact that the Chief Justice of India has offered that he will seat the mediation. First is, of course, a takeaway, a social takeaway, because Chief Justice knows the degree of sensitivity involved in this matter. The Chief Justice is emblematic of the trust imposed by the people of this country in the judiciary. He knows that if anybody else sits in the mediation, they are susceptible to allegations, they are susceptible to be alleged of certain biases and prejudices. Even if the mediation has a certain outcome, he wants it to be free from clutches of biases and prejudices. That is why the seat of Chief Justice, which he is sitting on, which does not discriminate, that is who will be arbitrating or mediating, whatever legal term you want to give it. That is important. The legal takeaway is this. Let me tell you as a lawyer, mediation is the least procedural proceeding which can ever be. Both the parties sit, there is no blame game, there is no finger pointing. The aspect which has to be considered, both the parties, which he said in his observation, give some, take some. Both the parties put their point, accept their negatives, tell their positives, and both go in a happy win-win situation.
Right.
So that is what is going to happen. There is not going to be any affidavits, applications, that all is pending in the court, and if the mediation fails, which takes place. And Shabnam ji, last thing, said a very important thing. There is one simple message in the Supreme Court order. The Supreme Court does not want to opine legally on an emotionally religious, sensitive issue, because they know a legal solution might not last very long, because it's such a sensitive issue. That is why this tip, advice or observation has come. And finally, to both the sides, just want to say a couplet which is very applicable in the Indian society, कि तेरी आसमां में हस्ती है, मेरी ज़मीं पे बसती है, थोड़ा तुम झुक जाओ, थोड़ा मैं उठ जाता हूं, यही हमारे मिलने की सूरत बनती है. This is what they should keep in mind, and we will reach a good solution.
All right, on that very poetic note, it's time to take a very short break, but I request all our guests to stay with us. We'll be back with this discussion right after this very short commercial break. Welcome back. We are, of course, discussing the Supreme Court today, the Chief Justice's offer of mediation as far as the entire Ram Temple dispute is concerned. And we're joined by our panelists, Jaiveer Shergill of the Congress, Shabnam Lone, and, of course, Mr. R.P. Singh of the BJP. Mr. R.P. Singh, the Chief Justice's intervention, how critical is that? Because the entire mediation process, then gets a whole new level of credibility, and perhaps every stakeholder at some level or the other gets the chance of not just his or her point of view being heard, but also, where the final decision comes, it will be a decision of consensus and not a decision of choosing one side over the other.
See, it's a very bold step taken by Chief Justice of India, and hats off to him that he has taken such a step where he's prepared to mediate for negotiation, and he's prepared to mediate and prepared to help in mediation also. I mean, what can be bigger way out than this? But I'll appreciate both the parties. I mean, I'm requesting all of us, all panelists today are on the same page today. We are requesting all the parties to come forward and give another chance for peace in this country. And don't put courts into problem. I mean, if court is prepared to take a step further, is prepared to take a step outside the purview of what has been done till now, they should come forward and then help the court and help the nation to go forward on this.
All right. Also, if I can get to the entire crux of this matter, this is also an extremely politically sensitive issue. Apart from being a religious issue, it has also been an issue that has, at some level or the other, had a huge amount of political connotations. So, Jaiveer Shergill, let me get into the political aspect of this. Do you think that various political parties which have today, raised all sorts of concerns about negotiations not working out in the past as well, do you think that it's time for, a larger consensus being evolved, even as far as the political class is concerned, so that this entire process of negotiations can actually go ahead? Because if there are any naysayers, even politically, at some level or the other, that would take away from the credibility of this process, isn't it?
Madhav, before Shergill start, on your panel at least, all political parties, all shades are together on this issue. I mean, they're on the same pitch on this.
No, Mr. R.P. Singh, of course, both of you are in agreement, but we've seen several voices being expressed coming in from Parliament today, where various political leaders have raised all sorts of questions about whether this is the correct procedure or not. That's the question that I'm raising. While the Congress and the BJP may be perhaps on the same page, it is certainly not the case as far as a number of regional parties are concerned, and a number of such reactions that are running on our channel. Yes, Jaiveer, please go ahead.
One fact which we cannot, shy away from it, that this issue needs a closure either way around, whether by a legal verdict or by a consensus. This issue for the past 25 years, without getting into any blame game, has become a political handle, a political stick, socially, politically, which is rotated before elections or used XYZ manner by everybody who goes into the elections. So it is in interest of the society, interest of the political class, in tune with the judgment of the Supreme Court, which has said in the past, religion should not be a matter of political campaign or political speech either way. I think if we reach a consensus, that merges with that decision. And thirdly, let me tell you, if any political party today objects to this methodology, manner of arriving a consensus, will stand exposed, because that will expose them that they don't want this issue to be resolved in an amicable manner. They want to keep the pot burning. They want to keep it simmering so that it can be used for the next election. So today the nation is watching every political person, whether the intent is to resolve, or the intent is to keep the issue burning, or to have a win versus lose situation, or a win-win situation for all communities across pan-India. So I think all the political parties, at a very delicate testing times today, and let's rise above our political affiliation and religious affiliations and arrive at a consensus for a better future tomorrow.
Absolutely. Do you agree with that, RP Singh? Ultimately, you know, all political parties must support this move, because even those who have been opposing it at some level or the other are perhaps at some level, you know, those who do not want this issue to be resolved at the earliest. Perhaps at some level, you know, those who do not want this issue to be resolved at the earliest.
I just now said, I mean, hats off to the Chief Justice. I mean, whatever word you can use. I mean, the step which he has taken is a very bold step, and I mean, probably I have not heard this sort of step taken in last many years in the judicial history. And that's what I'm saying. I'm hopeful that everyone will come on board for this. And he's a Sikh. I should not say that, but in Bani they said, "Awallallah noor paya kudrat se sab bande, ek noor se sab jab upjaya, kon bhale kon bande." So let's sit and talk. I mean, let's instead of accusing each other, pointing fingers at each other, sit and talk and negotiate and work out and look for a permanent solution so that nation can go ahead after this. I mean, this has taken quite a pain for this nation. I mean, it is quite a painful thing which has happened in the nation. Now is the time for amicable solution, and it is possible. And I'm saying it's very much possible if both the parties sit with Chief Justice initiative, we will find a solution to this time.
Right, Shabnam Lone, politically, how are you looking at this? Particularly, we've seen, as you mentioned, a number of political leaders, a number of religious leaders who've raised serious questions and serious doubts at this point of time. Do you think it's their intention, to not let go of this issue, to keep this issue boiling, and not really look at finding an early resolution that's actually motivating them to make these statements?
See, first of all, this has been festering. This started 100 years ago, 68 years into litigation, and after the demolition of the Babri Masjid, 27 years, we have seen this matter, consuming people's ideas, people's lives. Both Shergill and the BJP spokesperson RP Singh Sahab are correct. Now there has to be a closure. This can't go on for other generations to consume them with hate, to consume them with confusion, to consume them with unnecessarily with religious ferocity. Let it end. This is a great step that has been put forward by the Chief Justice of India.
All right.
This is a golden moment, and we must seize the moment. Politicians will differ. There will be different opinions. In a democracy, that is the creed.
All right.
Democracy is a battle of ideas. People might have different ideas, but this time the most important is what the Chief Justice said, and let us all seize the moment.
All right, Shabnam Lone, on that note, I'm afraid we'll have to end this discussion. I'd like to thank you as well as Jaiveer, Shergill and RP Singh for joining us on this discussion. We're completely out of time, but thank you so much for sharing your views on this extremely sensitive subject. That's about all the time on this bulletin. More news and updates coming up after this very short break.